Gary is going to Tennessee next week, and he doesn't want to stop and get fuel all the freaking time. So we're going to get him a fuel tank in his truck. Be kind of like on my silver truck. We got a shut-off solenoid, got a fuel pump. We're not going to filter it right now. We can filter it later. We also need to get upfitter switches. So we'll get a set of upfitters, put them in here, and then run it to the fuel pump. So we got the fuel tank mounted, drilled holes through it. That went all the way through the bed rail. We're going to mount that right here, and that will stop the flow. We kept it, went ahead and JB welded around it too, but they're threading pretty freaking good. No use in cutting your stock filler hose, not when we've got all this steel right here. We'll see how it works out. If it doesn't, there'll be a video showing that this doesn't work, but I mean, that's freaking beautiful.
It'll work.
How you guys doing this morning? Hot in the daytime and it's cool in the morning. So we went ahead and opened up every single door in the building. Got a nice breeze blowing through here, kind of get some fresh air. I think that tractor's for sale, guys. I think they're letting that go. They're gonna get something different. Make an offer if you wanna buy it. I don't think they're too sentimental when it comes to equipment. If something works or they got an idea something might work better, they'll drop it and buy something else. Let's look at this fuel tank right here. We did not get the entire upfitter. We had a little miscommunication and got upfitters only. So I have the wire right here. There's the wire loom I used. Very nice stuff. Very nice. So this is waiting for the upfitter switches to be put in. Look at that. Cody got the cover out. So the cover's out. We got to fish the wire through from there to there once we finally get the kit. And this wire is going up through, and I kept it inside the cab and came all the way down here. I come out of the back grommet with the same wire loom to here. It's a 6.7 2013. If we have to raise the cab, which I mean is not completely far-fetched, all we have to do for the auxiliary fuel pump wiring is take off this nut, and this is on its own eyelet. Let this wire right here just hang and go up with the cab. Done. Now let's say you lose the fuel pump. Now we should have painted under this bed, but we could do that later. But we lose the fuel pump. I have a connection right here, somewhere under here. I connected the stock wire. And then we'll have this other jumper on its own eyelet also. So no matter what happens, you just take that tin off and you can either disconnect the main feed in, or you can just disconnect the fuel pump, replace fuel pump, recrimp this on if we're on the road and this pump takes a crap. So there's my wiring. There's the extent of how much we got, about maybe 2 feet of wire exposed outside of the truck. I'll take that. This one right here, and I think this one is open right now. You know, I'm gonna have to double check that, because this one and this one, let's hypothetically, I don't know if it is, I'm pretty sure it's this one and this one. So right now you can blow through this one to here. That is open. So since this is open right here, I need to take that from the tank up top. So I'll come up from the top bung, the pickup tube right here. This has got a pickup tube in it that we cut off, and it's going down to the bottom of the tank. So we're gonna come out of here and into here, because this and this is not connected. Right now, as this does not have voltage to it, this line and this line is open. How they dream this up is this goes to the truck. This one will pull from the stock fuel tank. Now you can energize it and it will cut this one off and it will pull from this one. And it's actually considered a tank switcher is what this can be. You can switch between running off this tank or this tank depending on if you put voltage here. No voltage, you run here. With voltage, you run here. So how we run it is, since this one is locked all the time, like right now you cannot blow through that. It's called a normally closed solenoid. We want to run from the fuel source here because it will lock this from here. Because if, let's just say we run the pickup tube to here, and then out of here, and then over to the fuel pump, which would be here, and then out of the fuel pump and into our filler next. And this cap, for some reason, does any kind of degradation and messes up this to here. It's normally closed from this item. It's normally open from here. So if you run your feed line off of here and this degrades, and starts leaking, it could create a siphon and suck your whole tank dry and pour it on the ground. If we put our feed line here, there is no connection anywhere else other than here. And then we go out from there. We're kind of running it backwards from what it's designed, but this way, that will stop the siphon. And then we come out of this one, go over to the pump, out of the pump, and then the filler neck. Now we put some JB Weld on the filler neck. Now we did tap it. Now it looks like the JB Weld is just literally smeared on there because those are tapped in. They're tapped into the filler neck. You can see there. And then we use the JB Weld as Loctite. And there is no pressure on it. Remember, there's no pressure. This is always not under pressure. So I've got these two fittings here. We'll come, this one will go to this bung right here. And this is gonna be just a straight 90 degree, it's 1/4 inch NPT to 90 degree. And then we're gonna hook that to one of these hoses. And that is just gonna be a return, a tank return for the big tank. Just in case, now it never really works right to actually flow back up to the tank, but we'll hook this one with no pump, no lines, no interaction, nothing at all, from the top of that vent down to here. And then it'll just be a connection so that if this thing pumps and it fills up the entire tank, the concept would be that this thing right here will just let the fuel flow back up and run back into the tank. Problem is, most of the time it will leak somewhere else before it does that, but at least we'll have a provision for it to happen. Might as well, what the hell. So Gary just went and bought some fittings for his truck. And holy crap, he spent like $40 freaking on this, that, and that only. $40. Jesus. So here's our finished install of the auxiliary fuel tank. And I went ahead and put that wire loom. It looks great on the hose, and clamped it. So the nicer loom is clamped past it. So I got a vent here that's going down. There's the pickup tube. We bought that, cut it off to length. That is just a return line. That is just a fitting that drops in the tank so that if we pump too much out of the pickup tube down into the tank, in theory, if your tank is sealed up good enough, it should pump it back up into here and back into the stock fuel tank, back into the auxiliary tank, if you forget the pump on. You forgot to shut the pump off and it's filling up the tank, and the tank physically will fill all the way up to the top. So the concept with this is it won't overcome the vent. It will actually push it because it'll suck it out of this line, down through the shutoff valve, through the pump. And then if the stock tank is full, it should pump it right back up and dump it right back in the tank. So it just makes a return. So we put a return on it, which is kind of nice. And the vent, that is just a check valve right there. There really shouldn't be hardly anything coming out of that first hose. So we got this shutoff valve right here. And I hooked it up the wrong way. And I'm not sure if that's gonna fly. So this thing right here, this is the only valve right here that is closed while this is at rest. It's closed to this one. If you blow through here and here, this is an open passage right now. So ideally they want the tank to be on this fitting right here. So I did not put, I didn't do that because this one's closed. If this one's closed, then when we de-energize this line, it'll close right here, and this is going to the pickup tube. This is where the entire system is getting fuel, is right here. So that's the first shutoff. So when we energize this, it'll open this up, and then it'll let it flow over here and into the fuel pump. And I mounted the fuel pump using factory bolt right there with the ground going up, which actually that needs to go a little further because that thing can be covered with wire loom. So out of the fuel pump, then we're gonna go straight into what we put on the filler neck. So those are threaded in, and we just put JB Weld as like, just, you know, freaking smeared it on there, who cares? And then right next to that is the other line that goes up. This is the return, the one that's in the, closest to the cab up top. And the vent is coming down right here, and I ran the vent over, and I just used the hose barb to hold the wire loom, and I just put I had a plastic elbow. So I put a plastic elbow in, and it should drip, not on the truck. where it's resting at. I put one zip tie in the whole thing. I just zip tied it right there. It'll be all right. So there's your auxiliary fuel tank install underneath the bed. I wrapped all of these with this wire loom. These hoses ought to be nice for a long time, hopefully. And then I ran the line, just one power wire. This one is grounded through the chassis, through the housing, and this one has an actual ground wire up there that I put on the stud. And then I ran the hot line up and into the cab. This way, if we ever have to raise the cab, we can just take the nut off and take that off. So inside of the cab, I went and took the kick panel off. I should show you that because I unclipped everything and actually ran it down in there. It looks very nice, very good. And the wire loom goes all the way to here. So when we get the upfitters, we can go ahead and energize it. Right there, it'll be good to go. Energizing this line will open the shutoff solenoid and energize the fuel pump.